Looking for the entire county, serving Dillon, Latta, and Lakeview by covering our local news and upcoming events. Please join us now for Chamber Moments.
Hello, welcome to Chamber Moments. I'm Johnny Lures. Today I have as my guest Emily Nicholson, and Emily is the park ranger for the Little PD State Park. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great, glad to have you here.
It's good to be here.
You're fairly new to the Dillon County area, to Little PD State Park, and I know that you had something planned in April around Easter, and you had to cancel it. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so we were planning an Easter event at Little PD, and since we had to cancel due to the COVID-19, we still have all of our Easter stuff, so we're still working on a plan. We might have a hop into summer, so either way, we are going to try to figure out what we can't do once we're able to.
And I think you've also talked about trying to do some movies at night or something like that, maybe during the summer too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Park Service has a really cool inflatable movie screen, and we've been planning on doing a boxcar drive-in movie night where kids can make their own cars out of cardboard boxes and sit in them and pretend like they're in a car.
And that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's talk about the park a little bit. Due to the COVID-19, you've had to make some changes. What are some of the things that we will now see if we try to go to the park?
Okay, so a few things are, we have adjusted park hours. We are now open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and we are doing limited capacity. So each state park, that number is a different number. For us at Little PD, that ranges anywhere between 15 to 20 cars, or until we feel like it's no longer safe for our employees or our guests who are enjoying the park, but yet need that safe distance also.
Okay. Now, one thing I've noticed about Little PD State Park, we always have a lot of campers there. What's going on with the campers now?
Okay, so as of right now, if people have an existing reservation, they are good to come in and camp for the campsites or our camper cabin, but we cannot make any new reservations for camping or the camper cabin until after May 11th.
Okay. Now, how would they go about making a reservation?
So there's a couple of different ways, but the easiest way would either be to go online to southcarolinaparks.com or call us in the office.
Okay. And for those that have existing reservations, even now, even though the park won't be officially open again for people taking new reservations, they're still okay, right?
Yes, ma'am. And we have been making sure we're contacting all of our guests before they arrive, because we hope that they do still come, even though there are certain limitations. But it's been a long month without people, that's for sure. So we're happy to see the few that we can. But so we're contacting everybody we can to let them know, hey, we're open and we really hope to see you in the parks.
Okay. You've been doing some other type of work out there too, haven't you?
Yes. So if a lot of you may or may not know, but all of the South Carolina State Parks were closed for the month of April. Well, we did not just hang out for a whole month. We worked on a lot of maintenance projects, cutting down a lot of hazardous trees in the campground that could, in the future make problems if they were to fall or anything like that, and just doing a little maintenance projects that we couldn't do with a lot of people in the park.
Okay. And when we talk about reserving our campsites, we also need to remember that we need to reserve the shelters too, right?
Yes. So right now, our shelters you aren't able to rent shelters until after June 1st. We are still, abiding by the no large group gatherings of more than 3 people. But so hopefully at the beginning of June, we will be able to allow that. And we have 2 really great shelters at the park. So.
Okay. And once again, how will they find out about that? Let's give our viewers that information.
Yes, you can either call us at the park office directly, or you can go online to southcarolinaparks.com.
And our park in Dillon County is?
Little PD State Park.
Thank you, Emily.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Johnny Lures with Chamber Moments. Hello, welcome to Chamber Moments. I'm Johnny Lures. Today I have as my guest Mr. Herbert Jacobs, and Mr. Jacobs is part of the U.S. Census, but he's not a full employee, he's a volunteer, and you know how volunteers are. So we are delighted to have you here with us today. Let's talk a little bit about the census. When you and I had a conversation maybe a month or so back, You told me that we left a lot of money on the table for South Carolina and Dillon County. What can we do about that?
Very good. That's an excellent question. In 2000 census, roughly 6 out of 10 people in the county of Dillon were counted. Fast forward to 2010, the census done that year, roughly 7 out of 10 residents in the county were counted. And because of that percentage less than or not close to 100%, the county of Dillon lost considerable amounts of money. Because what happens is, with each census count, those data are used to determine how the federal government is going to distribute funds back to the local municipalities. And that fund sum exceeds $675 billion. So if Dillon County, or any county for that matter, is at 100% head count of the folks that reside in that county, they're going to get a larger percentage of that $675 billion plus dollars that ultimately comes back to the local municipalities. And so for 2000, from 2000 to 10, based on the 2000 census, 4 out of 10 people who reside in Dillon County were not accounted for, and that was reflected in fewer dollars coming to Dillon County. As a county, we did a little better with the census in 2010. We got up to 7 out of 10 people being counted. Unfortunately, 3 out of 10 were not. So funds representing those 3 out of 10 that were not counted were lost to the county.
Now, I know that some people receive things in the mail, some things have been put on your door at home, but there are different ways that you can make sure that you're counted. Does someone come to your house, or what's the best way to make sure that everybody is counted?
Okay, for this year, 2020, there are more options than there ever have been. Unlike past census taking procedures, with this census, you have 3 options. One, and this is probably the most efficient one, for the first time, invitees are able to respond online. I know I received my invitation on the 12th of March, because the 12th of March was the first day that those distributions of invitations took place. I received it, and before the day was out, I simply opened up the packet and I used the inline or online method of responding, and in less than 2 minutes, it was completed. So online, something that had not been available before. The other option is the one that we're most familiar with, where you have that form that you physically write and fill out. And again, there's anywhere from 7 to 9 questions on that form. And they're not very intrusive questions, so you don't have to worry about them getting too personal, if you will. Your name, your date of birth, your age, your sex, your race. That's pretty much it.
So you don't have to give out like your Social Security number and things like that. People have said, you know, watch out for that. That's what they want to know. They want to know all this, but that's not.
You're absolutely correct. That is not one of the questions that's asked on this census form. And the confidentiality of information that's given, well, there are a couple of federal laws that dictate penalties in the event that somebody divulges that information. It's Title 13 of the U.S. Code states that, first of all the census personnel who gather this information, they take an oath before they are hired. And penalty if they violate the oath by divulging that information with anybody, governmental agencies, law enforcement agencies, it makes no difference because the data is collected for the purpose of developing statistics. But at any rate, Title 13 of the U.S. Code dictates that, number one, it's not to be shared. If it is, under the penalty of up to 5 years in prison and or up to $250,000 for the violation. So the federal government protects it. And then in terms of archiving the information, there's a Title 44 of the U.S. Code that clearly states that once that data is collected, for example, here we are in the year 2020, for the next 72 years, that information will be archived. So do the math, 2020 plus 72 brings us to 2019. And realistically, most of us that are here today will not be here in 2092. But that's the point in time when that information, the particulars, if you will, of that information might be made available.
Now, if somebody has to go to the house to help someone fill out one of the surveys, they will have proper identification, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. As a matter of fact, the dates have changed because of the disruption caused by the coronavirus. But there will be workers that will be coming out and asking individuals who didn't respond to complete the information. And they can do it right there, because once again, 7 to 9 questions is all that appears on the form. And as I said, I did mine online in less than 2 minutes.
Now, if someone has a question, is there a number that they could call, or is there somewhere they could go online and ask something or check out anything?
They do. And just to make sure I don't give the wrong information, I'm going to open up my little pad here, find that information, and read it verbatim. Okay, for individuals who would like to register online, they can simply go to the Census Bureau's website, and that website is www.2020census.gov. Again, www.2020census.gov. Additionally, if they wish to dial a number, there's an 800 number. And that 800 number is 1-844-330-2020. Again, 1-844-330-2020.
Okay. Well, thank you for being with us today. I hope to bring you back next month. We can talk a little bit more about how the census is going and how much longer we have for folks to respond to the questionnaire.
I'll be more than happy to join you.
Thank you, sir. I'm Johnny Lewis with Chamber Moments. Hello, welcome to Chamber Moments. I'm Johnny Lewis. Today I have as my guest Pat Laird, and Pat is here with Dillon County Healthy Initiative, Farmers Market, and a few other things, I hope.
A few other things.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on with our farmers market?
Well, farmers markets are able to operate. They are considered essential, just like grocery stores. And so we are going to be operating next Monday, May 11th, will be our first market. We have a couple new vendors, and we don't really know, just like everything and every other organization, this is just uncharted water. So, you know, we're hoping we'll have a good crowd. We hope everybody will come out, and we hope we'll have a good number of vendors, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I do have 2 new vendors that are coming that I'm excited about. If anybody has ever bought produce from Mr. Harold Ellerby, who has been at our market, his nephew has started a business as well, and it's called Harris's Naturally Grown Vegetable Farm, Mark Harris. So Mr. Ellerby couldn't come, so he's going to send Mark in his place. So we'll have fresh produce that they grow right there in downtown, or in Florence. They live there from Florence. And the other one is actually somebody from the beach, and it's called Coastal Corn. It's gourmet popcorn, and they have all savory and sweet, and they sent me a message that they would like to come and be with the market, and I'm working on a couple other ones too. Okay. So anyway, we'll have it set up, and everybody will be socially distanced, and we'll have hand washing stations, sanitizer. So, you know, we hope people will come on out. Problem is that a farmer's market part of the allure of a farmer's market is the socialization. And of course, that'll have to be on a limited basis this go round. But anyway, we're looking forward to it. We're going to do our best.
Now, how many months will the farmers market run?
The farmers market runs from May until October.
And the hours?
And the hours are from 4 to 7. And we're right here on the corner of Railroad and Main, right next to First Bank.
Okay, right near the little fountain area.
Near the fountain area.
Great. Now, the vendors, if they just get a hold of you and let you know that they want to come,
Yes.
is there a charge for our vendors?
There is not a charge. We do not charge for our vendors.
Okay.
They have to provide their own table and a tent if they want it.
And we have little areas that they can be placed in, is that correct?
Right.
And you're going to at least leave a lot of footage in between.
We
I
are.
believe.
We are. We're going to do that, even if we have to block off and move down the street a little bit. We will have plenty of room in between people.
And we hope that a lot of our vendors from previous years will return, and we know that sometimes it's a little hard to get a hold of some product right now.
Right.
But they are scheduled. If they don't make it for May, definitely look for us in June.
They'll be here in June. Yes, I've had one vendor tell me that they are having problems with their supply chain, and so anyway, they won't be here. But she promised me that she would do her best to get back here in June.
Now, I know, especially for the month of May, you're not going to be able to do samples. We always like to give out samples to everyone.
I know.
We're not going to be able to do that. And we're not going to have a prepared food that evening. Is that
Right.
correct?
No samples, no prepared food, and something else I wanted to say about that.
But then
we'll have some information.
And
Oh, we also, when we did our plant giveaway before the governor shut us down.
From 5 o'clock
I know, at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Anyway, one of our plants, which was purple basil, was not ready. And it is ready now at the market, at the nursery. So we're going to bring flats out there, and we're going to give away free purple basil
Wonderful.
to everybody who comes. So anyway, you get a little goodie anyway.
And some new bags, I believe.
And we have new bags, that is correct. We have new shopping bags. And
well, let's tell our viewers again what day of the month that it falls on and the hours.
all right, it's the second Monday of each month, May through October, from 4 to 7 on the corner of Railroad and West Main Street.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
I'm Johnny Lewis with Chamber Moments. Chamber Moments. Hello, welcome to Chamber Moments. I'm Johnny Lewis. Today I have as my guest Don Lewis, a local meteorologist. Hello, Don. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Let's talk about hurricane season because it's fast approaching, I believe.
Hurricane season is just about here. It begins officially on June 1st and runs through June, all the way through the summer and into the fall, ending officially on November 30th. So it is about to start, and it's not all that unusual to have it start on its own ahead of time before June 1st actually gets here. And there's some signs we may be looking at that as a situation for this year, that we could have named storms before we even get to June 1st. So it is about here. You're exactly right.
When we're talking about named storms, what type of kind of year are we expecting this year?
Overall, for the Atlantic Basin, which includes the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea, expected to have an above normal season in terms of number of storms. Now, normal season would have 11 or 12 named storms. We're looking for more than that, most likely this year. And then, correspondingly, a higher number of hurricanes and a higher number of major hurricanes also, major being Category 3, 4, or 5. So it should be a busy year on the big picture. We don't know, obviously, exactly where the threats are going to be, but I've seen some forecast teams trying to narrow in on maybe where the most likely focal points for the year will be. And the Southeast has come up as a focal point in a couple of different agencies' forecasts. There's not a lot of skill in those forecasts. It's not much better than a guess this far out and try to do a whole season. And certainly you can't narrow it down to any particular location. But in general, it should be a busier than normal year.
what do we need to be doing now to get ready for the hurricane season? We have a little bit of time before it officially starts. Are there certain things we need to be preparing for now?
Absolutely. And from an individual standpoint, really you should address every season the same. Whether the forecast is for a slow season or a busy season, at any one location, all that really matters is, do you get a storm that year or not? And there's no forecast this far out that's going to give you a reliable answer on that. So every year, prepare as if one would come. That way you'll be ready if one does come. And of course, the things you do to get ready, it's always good to do an insurance check just to make sure that you don't have property that you've acquired since last hurricane season that's not insured properly, or maybe you've had policies expire on your current property. So you want to do that because you can't get insurance immediately before a storm to cover it for that storm. So you need to have it in place. That's a big one. Another one is to just kind of have a family plan on how you would react to a storm. Know about where you would evacuate to if it came to an evacuation. What would you do with your pets if it came to an evacuation? Kind of general planning like that. And the last thing to do is to make sure that you have the supplies you need available if we got into a storm situation. Some supplies you can gather that don't really expire with time, any not perishable. Certainly you can get some bottled water stored up and batteries and things like that. And then closer to a storm, you want to make sure that you have your prescriptions and things like that, so you have everything you need.
Okay. Are you available to speak to groups and organizations?
Absolutely. I enjoy doing it. So if anybody would like me to come speak on hurricane season or weather or hospice for that matter, give the Chamber a call or give me a call. I'd be happy to.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
I'm Johnny Lures with Chamber Moments.